Hi everybody. On June 9th, we've got a full moon in Sagittarius at 18 degrees and 53 minutes. Sagittarius is a mutable sign. So the moon is in Sag, the sun by definition is opposite in Gemini, and we've got quite a lot of mutable energy at the time of this full moon. So it's time for a change. So here you see me, I don't know if you can see, but I'm sitting on the floor. I'm in a different room. I'm not using my flip chart. I've changed things around. It's time for a change. And very often at the time of a full moon, it'd be good to know where this full moon falls in your chart. We'll show you the life area that may come to light, that you need to make some changes. Maybe it'll be a change in your relationships if it's falling in your first house. Maybe it's a change of home or environment if it's in your fourth house. So looking at this mutability, it's really important, especially with it being Sagittarius energy, to be ready to change your mind about something. Because the most powerful aspect that we've got going on at the time of this full moon is a T-square. So we've got the sun in Gemini, the moon in Sag, and Neptune in Pisces in its rulership is at the focal point of this T-square. So it's very strong, this Neptune. And the chances are that Neptune is going to have you questioning things, questioning your belief, questioning whether you believe what somebody is saying to you. Maybe somebody's betrayed you, maybe somebody's lied to you, and you kind of know it in your tummy, but you haven't wanted to admit it or to see the truth of it. Recently, one of my kind newsletter subscribers emailed me with a link to another channel posting my videos, having said he downloaded them himself, as though they were his videos. And I checked, and there were tons of my videos there, and those of many other astrologers. So I was thankful for that because I was able to report it to YouTube, and as far as I know, that user has now been blocked. So it's an opportunity for things that have been hidden, secrets that have been hidden, to come to light. And Jupiter is ruler of Sagittarius, and Jupiter is in Libra. And Libra is all about your relationships. So whether this full moon falls in your relationship house or not, doesn't matter. This is going to be an opportunity for the truth to be told in relationships. And maybe it's time, it's Sagittarius, for you to speak your truth. And maybe to risk the relationship in order to be authentic to who you are. And yes, there's a possibility you might lose the relationship, but I have a friend, for example, we live in different countries, we don't meet very often, but when we do meet, for some reason, it's always intense, or it has been so far. And it often triggers emotional things in each of us. And this then leads often to a heart-to-heart exchange. And after that, we're closer than we've ever been. So think about that. Where do you need to speak the truth in your life? Where do things just need to come out? And it's so much healthier to have things out in the open, even if it's uncomfortable. We're living in a whole structure of society where things are kind of leaking out, WikiLeaks and all these things leaking out, the United States, President Trump, all these things. And we know inside when something's not okay. But it's time now to take your fear and to express whatever's happening. And I'm practicing doing that. I won't say that it's easy for a Libra who wants to have everybody happy and have no conflict or confrontation, but sometimes it's rather necessary. And your beliefs may be challenged. For example, the power of belief. I was only reading recently of a man who got locked in to a walk-in freezer. And he believed that that freezer was on. And he was writing notes to his family. And he was saying, you know, my fingers are beginning to freeze. And in fact, the next day somebody came in and found him and he was dead, but frozen. He psyched himself up because, in fact, the freezer wasn't turned on. And it never went below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So think of the power of your mind. And think now of ways in which you can maybe use things more constructively in your life. I make a concerted effort now, because I was always running from one thing to another. And that isn't to say that I don't run from one thing to another from time to time. But now there are more spaces in my life for me to think, for me to meditate, for me to get away from so much information, so many phone calls and emails, and wonderful as they are, if they're non-stop, you kind of don't know what your thoughts are, it kind of all becomes like a blancmange, it's all mixed up. So, I make a concerted effort every day to spend at least 2 to 3 hours of my day outside of that vibration, where I'm in my own vibration and I can get to my own creativity and see things from a different perspective, rather than emotionally just reacting to everything in my life. I give myself time to respond to things. So that's something you might want to do, using the energies of this full moon in Sagittarius. The nice thing is that that Jupiter is trine to the Sun, sextile to the Moon, so this is giving you an opportunity to make some breakthroughs in your relationships. So take a chance, risk it. Maybe you're going to get something a lot better than what you've had so far. So I've created a painting for this full moon in Sagittarius. Here it is, and hope you enjoy it. I'm trying to be a little colour coordinated here with everything I'm doing. It seemed to just work out that way. So it's about thinking about what you're thinking, being prepared to change your thinking. I was on a very rigid diet for the last 20 odd years, and I really wouldn't change it. You know, I wouldn't take a morsel of something else. I was very frightened. I lived in the fear paradigm. And over the last year or two, I've really adapted, changed, and keep changing it, because the body is dynamic. You know, we so much want stability and things to stay the same, but the mutable signs show us that in fact nature, the earth, our bodies are dynamic beings and constantly in flux. So we've got to keep listening to what our body and our hearts are saying and keep changing and adapting as we go. And I have to say, it's a lot easier to say than it is to do. But I believe, my belief is, that the more of us that awaken, the more of us that do this, the easier it gets for everybody. Thanks very much for listening. I'm very interested to hear your comments and your feedback. And I very much enjoy being with you and doing these videos. It's quite a highlight of my day. Bye for now.